up, gamers? I'm Julie.
And I'm Jason, and today on Dice & Dragons we are going to be reviewing the two latest hero packs for Marvel Champions, the card game. That's right, it's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. We've got the twins, finally, and we were able to get them to the table.
Yep.
Been looking forward to do that for a while. Now these are expansions for Marvel Champions, the card game, published by Fantasy Flight Games and designed by Caleb Grace, Nate French, and Michael Boggs. Now Julie's going to take it away and tell you more about the game itself.
So like the base game, this is an expansion for. It is a living card game. It is cooperative. It's for 1 to 4 players, and it's intended for ages 14 and above. And it plays in about 60 minutes if you're playing 2 players. It can be a lot longer if you're playing more players.
I would say you're looking at a good, well, depending on the skill of players, what, half hour to 45 minutes per player?
Yep.
So what will you be doing with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch? Well, first, you'll be adding their decks to the game. You may now customize their decks if you so choose, as this is a living card game. There's also some extra cards that comes in each pack that can be used for any deck that you want to build. But we're not really talking about that aspect. Let's talk about the characters. Well, with Quicksilver, you're going to be using your super speed to defeat villains and work well with your twin sister, Scarlet Witch, who's going to be using chaos magic and causing all sorts of havoc as you try to save the day from those evil Marvel dastardly Marvel villains. I'll go with Marvel villains. Characters like Ultron, Kang the Conqueror, and many others that are available to fight in the game. I was going to say play against, and then I decided with fight. Fight sounded better. You agree?
Yep.
So what time is it, Julie?
It's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend. We're not twins, so can't say something like that.
We're going to take it to the table one more time.
One more time. Who are you going to be this time?
Scarlet Witch.
Okay, well, I'm going to be Quicksilver. Speedy punch punch. Now we're going to take a look at the components for both Scarlet Witch and the Quicksilver hero pack. So we'll start with each of our heroes. So here we have Scarlet Witch. 2 thwart, 1 attack, 2 defense. Her ability is Chaos Control, which is an interrupt. When boost icons on an encounter card would be counted, discard the top card of the encounter deck and count the number of boost icons on that card instead. So you can swap it out. Now we've got her alter ego Wanda Maximoff. Recovery of 3. Superpowered siblings. So action, discard 2 cards from your hand. Draw 2 cards, draw 3 cards if Pietro Maximoff is in play. So that is pretty cool. Let's take a look at Quicksilver. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 1 defense. Response: after you use one of Quicksilver's basic powers, you get attack, thwart, or defense, you get to ready him so you can attack twice. Here we've got Pietro Maximoff. So discard 2 cards from your hand to draw 2 cards. You draw 3 if Wanda Maximoff is in play. So let's look at their hero decks. Now you do have the ally of Quicksilver, so I guess that would be another way for you to chain with Wanda Maximoff's ability. Probably the same thing with Scarlet Witch with Pietro's ability. Now you're not supposed to use them if you're playing with both of the characters. So you can see what Quicksilver does. 1 thwart, 2 attack, and you get to ready him an extra time. Chaos Magic, hero action, play a card from your hand, ignoring its resource cost, then discard cards from the top of the encounter deck equal to that card's printed resource cost. Pretty cool. Hex Bolt, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. For each card discarded this way that has boost icons equal to 0. So you do all of that stuff. Very neat. Molecular Decay, an attack spell, deal 5 damage to an enemy and discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, deal 1 additional damage to that enemy. Wow, she seems really powerful so far. Warp Reality, when an encounter card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel all of its effects and discard it. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck equal the number of boost icons on the card. Agatha Harkness, so exhaust Agatha to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add 1 of those to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Magic Shield, which is an interrupt that will let you prevent 3 damage. And she's got her helmet. So when boost icons on an encounter card are counted, exhaust Scarlet Witch's crest. Increase or decrease the number of boost icons on that card by 1 for the count. Very cool. So let's see what we get with her. Justice, we got the ally of speed, much like Quicksilver. We've got Wiccan. So after Wicked Thwart, discard the top card of the encounter deck and deal some damage. We've got Crisis Averted, which will let you remove 6 threat depending on how you spent it. Multitasking, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Then you can also remove 2 threat from a different scheme depending on how you paid for it. Swift Retribution, the villain schemes, and you get to deal 4 damage to him. Turn the Tide. After your hero thwarts, it removes all threat from a scheme, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Pretty cool. Power of Justice. We've seen Heroic Intuition before. So Order and Chaos, so this means you have to have Quicksilver. So when a Treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its reveal effects, then deal 2 damage to the villain. Spiritual Meditation, play only if your identity has the Mystic trait. Pretty cool. Draw 2 cards. And then choose one and discard one. And then all of the other standard cards. Now, next we're going to take a look at Quicksilver stuff. I want to look at all the good stuff before we get into the bad. And then we'll see what those generic cards are that are being added to the deck. So here we've got Scarlet Witch. So when you use one of Scarlet Witch's basic powers, discard the top card of the encounter deck for each boost icon discarded. Scarlet Witch gets +1 to that power, so that's pretty cool. Always be running, so you can ready Quicksilver a few times. Double time, you get to choose 2 of the actions. So, and you can do 2 of the same things, deal 2 damage to an enemy or remove 2 threat from a scheme. Max, you 1 per phase. You get +2 thwart, +2 attack, and +2 defense until the end of the round. That's maximum velocity. Speed Cyclone lets you stun X enemies. Serval Industries, exhaust Serval to shuffle 2 Quicksilver cards from your discard pile back into your deck. Accelerated Reflexes, he gets +1 defense. Friction Resistance, after you ready Quicksilver, ready this card, and you can gain some more resources. Hyper Perfection, you'll get an extra thwart. Reinforcing, you'll get an extra attack. So lots of really cool ways to play Quicksilver. He seems very strong. And he comes with a protection deck. You get Multiple Man. So after Multiple Man enters play, search your deck and hand for a copy of Multiple Man and put into play. So there are a few of them. We've got Warlock. Spend the science resource to deal up to 2 damage from Warlock. That's pretty cool that you can keep him in play. Never back down. Hero Interrupt. When you defend against an attack, you get +2 defense for this attack. If you take no damage from this attack, you get to stun the enemy. I like that as well. Sidestep. When you take any amount of damage, prevent 3 of that damage. And then if you paid with energy resource, deal 1 damage to that enemy. We've seen the Armored Vest. Nerves of Steel we've seen as well, I believe. But we'll take a look again. So exhaust Nerves of Steel to generate a energy resource for a defense event. Pretty cool. We already saw Order and Chaos. And then we've got a lot of the standard stuff. But we have some other cards like Adrenaline Rush. Discard Adrenaline Rush and your hero gets +1 attack till the end of the phase. Pretty cool. Discard Civic Duty to get an extra thwart. So nice stuff. Let's look at his obligation. So fairly standard. It's just a need for speed. Exhaust Pietro Maximov. Remove it from the game. Exhaust your identity. And you cannot discard... you cannot ready your identity until your next turn ends. Then you get to discard the obligation. We've got Extortion of Seismic Proportions. You'll face off against Avalanche. And some equipment for him. Don't want to spend too much time going through all of this stuff. Want to hit around the 10-minute mark or so. So Slipping Sanity, you may flip to Alter Ego, and then you got to choose. Exhaust one of the Maximov, or discard the type 5 cards of the encounter deck, and then for each star icon in the boost area discarded, this way place 1 threat on the main scheme. That may not be bad depending on the deck, but you've got 2 of these. So we've got the Next Evolution as the side scheme. And you'll be facing off against Luminous and some of her abilities. So let's see what we get for some of the new cards for Scarlet Witch. So we do get a new aggression card known as Browbeat. Play only if your identity is the Avenger trait. Deal 2 damage to the villain. Deal X additional damage to the villain, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. Pretty cool. Last Stand is an interrupt. When an ally you control attacks, it gets +3 attack for this attack. After the attack resolves, you got to discard the ally. Bait and switch. The villain attacks you, and then you get to remove 4 threat from the scheme. Recuperation. Heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. So just another way to heal up. And of course, to the stop card, just reminding you that these are not part of the main deck. we get for Quicksilver. So brute force, you get +1 attack, and your basic attack gains piercing. Forced, responsive to make a brute force basic attack, you have to discard it. That's okay. Sense of justice, play under any one player's control. You get to generate a science resource. United Withstand, play only if you're an Avenger. Heal 1 damage from up to X friendly characters, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. And then lastly, beat 'em up. Deal 1 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with you. Well, that fits well with some characters. So let's take a quick look at the rulebook for, rule sheet for Quicksilver. So I think I might have put these out of order. Yeah, this is Scarlet Witch's. So Quicksilver is right up here. So we've got just a nice explanation, the credits, the new keywords, how it works, insight and piercing. Then, of course, some cool art, which I always enjoy. And we'll take a look at what we've got here for Scarlet Witch. So once again, some rule clarification, her deck, and then some awesome art. So there you have it. We've taken a look at the components for both of the hero packs. Now Julie and I are going to be coming back at you with our review of these two characters. So Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. What did you think of these two heroes, and who do you want to talk about first?
Well, I'll talk about Scarlet Witch first because she's who I played first. And I always tend to gravitate towards playing the female character first because. And she was a lot of fun to play, honestly. She's probably not one of my top 3 of this game. I still prefer the smashy smash of Hulk, Thor, and She-Hulk. And even like Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange's spell deck is pretty awesome.
It is, and he's very different. He's fun to play. He's different than the others. But she's interesting too. She cycles through the deck faster or she can cycle through the deck if you're using her ability properly, I think, at least in my humble opinion. So it's a lot of fun to go through those cards. And
you mean the encounter deck, right? The enemy encounter deck.
Yeah, but also through your own cards because you can pick up and discard due to the ability when you're playing with Quicksilver.
Yeah, and actually that brings up a good point. So just for reference, we played the game for review purposes with the core decks. We didn't do any of the modifications. You were supposed to remove Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch from the opposites deck if you're playing with them as an actual player. We chose not to do that. Now the reason for that is that both of the twins have the same alter ego action with some draw more cards, meaning when you've got your ally version of Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch in play, if you're not playing with your twin, you're able to use the abilities as well as the Order and Chaos card, which also requires your twin to be in play.
So in any case, I thought that was a lot of fun. It's different. She can be pretty powerful. And when I got cycling with some good cards, I was able to do a lot of damage. In fact,
well, not just damage. I think she's more well-rounded. I would actually say that...
I think she's... Sorry, Jason. I think she's better rounded than Quicksilver in the sense that she can thwart or hit pretty hard.
I would have to say I don't think she hits that hard. She's got the potential to.
Yes.
But it's chaos magic. You don't know what you're going to get. You may get some thwart. You may get some, smashing power. Or you may even be drawing some more cards from the deck, which makes things,
interesting.
Interesting,
well,
random, and fun to play.
The last time I played with her, I was able to do 25 damage and kill the villain.
No, that was Quicksilver.
No, sorry.
No, that was Quicksilver when you did the 25 damage.
I'm pretty sure I did it with
No,
Scarlet Witch.
It was not, because I had a really nice hand with Scarlet Witch at that point in time, and I was like, yes, there's 5 damage left, and I can do 15, and then you drop 25, and I was like, well, that just makes my 15 seem pitiful.
In any case, she's a lot of fun. What did you think of her?
I really enjoyed playing as Scarlet Witch. The character is incredibly thematic. I like the fact that she has 2 obligations that go into the encounter deck, because that works with the theme of the character. It's a little annoying when they both come out during the game. However, it's interesting because the way she cycles through the encounter deck, you may or may not have them come up. So that's pretty cool. I really liked her Chaos Magic ability that lets you play a card of higher cost and then just reveal cards from the encounter deck, which I thought was really neat. And I also like the way your Hex Blasts work, because you typically are going to be doing a solid attack as well as getting something else that you need. So overall, she's a really fun character, and they did a great job taking this incredibly powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well as in the Marvel Comics universe, and really distilling her down to the core of her abilities. For the longest time, people thought that she was just a witch and using magic powers, but she was a mutant. No one really realized that her powers were more based on chaos, and the magic wasn't necessarily magic like Doctor Strange casting spells, and they really captured that element of the character. So, lots of fun. I recommend, definitely one of the heroes that we suggest you get to the collection.
Yeah. Quicksilver was fun too. He did punch harder. He doesn't thwart quite as well.
I think that depends. You can get some solid thwart with upgrades, but I definitely would say that he's geared a lot more to attacking, at least what's in his deck. You could very easily build a thwart Quicksilver deck.
Yeah. He was a lot of fun to play too. I mean, he's I would consider him a middle of the road hero when you compare it to the other ones that are available with the different upgrade packs.
So I would actually disagree with you. His ability to hit and refresh and do a lot of stuff, especially in terms of fighting characters, we haven't done it yet, but Kang the Conqueror, who's got a mode where he splits you all up. Quicksilver's ability to do 20 to 25 damage a little later on in the game with only a few upgrades is something that's going to come in very handy. You'll be able to almost, in a single player game, you could almost potentially annihilate a villain through 2 phases if you time your cards right.
Well, you can't time them.
Well, timing, because you do your attacks,
yeah,
and then you line it up right. I mean, sometimes villains will have about 24 health. I think Rhino is 12 and 12, if I'm not mistaken. So that last hand where you did 24 damage, you could have just been like, bye, Rhino, all at once, which I think is really cool. And I don't think there's any other character that can quite do that. Everyone else just hits hard at once.
Yeah. He's fun to play. He definitely is. And there are a couple of different things. Just found it's funny. I didn't use a lot of allies with him. I guess maybe...
There's not that many allies in his deck. It's all taken up by multiple man, who's got some interesting... he's got an interesting power. I like the way that he works. Like you pull him out and you get to pull another copy of him out. He just feels a little weak. I almost want to have some ally upgrade cards.
Well, and that's what I did often is instead of using multiple mana, I just put another upgrade in that was easier to use than having multiple mana out. There's not a lot of cons. I mean, they're solid. I definitely think, I mean, we're all in on this game. We've got them all. I definitely think they're stronger than some of the other, I don't really want to pick on any of the expansions. I think if you're considering them, if you enjoy Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver as characters, I definitely think you should get them. And like Jason said, they're more complex and have abilities that allow you to go after the later villains. And I think that was smart of Fantasy Flight Games as they're putting out villains that are a little bit more complex. The heroes that are coming out have the abilities to get rid of them as well.
Yeah, the Once in Feature Kang is a very difficult expansion. So far, it's the most difficult enemy expansion that we've got, and we struggled with some of the characters that we played. That being said, we weren't playing the top tier hitting ones, and it was a little just disappointing because thwarting really wasn't that important. You needed to be able to hit and maybe do a little bit of thwart, and these characters definitely would be able to do that. It's going to be interesting to see how Galaxy's Most Wanted once again shakes up the game and shifts everything.
I've been looking forward to that one for a while.
We fought against Ultron and they did very well. That being said, Ultron was still able to have the twins fairly hard pressed just because of the way his deck works and their abilities. We got close to not dying, but we got in trouble a few times, but never anything that we could handle. When we
couldn't handle.
Yes. When you compare that to playing with Thor, whose ability just kept working perfectly against Ultron, it was a completely different experience. I think Thor made Ultron look like a piece of cake because he just ate through those drones, drew more cards, and was just like damage, 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 damage. No, I really don't see that many cons to these characters. They fit the theme. Overall, I don't think there's too many cons to Marvel Champions. We've yet to actually have I think we've had one pack that we were a little disappointed with. Everything else has been a solid addition to the game. And we're going away from the Avengers, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are up next. And that actually has me a little concerned. Not because I don't think it's going to be good. We're really changing up sort of that style of play, and I think it'll be thematic. But how is that going to fit with the rest of the box? We're going to get this nice campaign box, which will be good. But I'm wondering if Rocket and Groot versus Ultron, that just might feel off. We'll have to see. It's coming out soon, so you can expect to see it on the channel. We took a little while to get both of these out, but that one will be coming fast and furious.
So on that note, it's time to give our ratings.
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to rate them both the same. I'm going to give them an 8. I think these two characters are great. They work incredibly well together. They take advantage of the mechanic that was introduced with the last two character packs that work together, and I'm drawing a blank as to who they were right now. I don't remember.
Wasn't it Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Thank you very much. And I really like the way that this game is being developed, and I think that these are almost an essential for anyone that loves Marvel Champions. That's why it's an 8. If they're an essential, it'd be a 9.
I would say that this is a 7.5. I did enjoy them a lot, but there are a couple others that I rated 8 that I like better than this. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I like both of them more than you.
There you go. So I'm going to remind you that at this point that you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content.
And take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see pictures of Julie and I playing Marvel Champions, the card game, well, they'll be all over our feed. You've got Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, Ant-Man, Wasp, tons of pictures from us playing the game. Also, if you happen to be looking for a copy of Ant-Man, well, not Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, slip of the tongue, but it worked out well anyway. Check out our link to multizone.ca. Click on the link, you'll get 10% off your next purchase. And a portion of that will come back to the channel, so it's a great way to support us. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released content. Over here will be our most recent release. And in front of Julie will be our review on how to play of Marvel Champions. So now what time is it?
Now it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our drinks. Oof. Got myself a little tight in there. I'll grab our best friend. Grab my best friend. I wasn't sure. I was debating doing something else. Change it up.
We're going to keep playing games.
Keep playing games.
We're going to keep playing this for sure.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for Galaxy's Most Wanted.
Still can't believe we were in a forum recently and somebody said that this is a game that they can't stand. Don't understand it.
Well, we didn't like Bugborn.